I'm now finding myself as one of the better agents in the industry at the moment, and yeah, just trying to change myself and my family's life.
Liam Robertson, one of the fastest rising stars in Dubai real estate.
We just got to a stage where most of our friends were leaving, and we thought, do we want to be left behind? You could be the big fish in a small pond, or you could be in the big pond with the big fish. They mentioned that I'd won the Rising Star for the year. Obviously, only being there 6 months was a very big achievement for me personally. You've got your wife, you've got your daughter. This job is tough. You're going to have to sacrifice the family part of it for majority of the week. 3 or 4 times I'd actually said to my wife, I cannot do this because I'm putting so much into it and then dropping or fumbling. By the time 6 months came, I think it was something like tripled or quadrupled my annual salary from back home.
They're talking to me about some of the better days.
Oh, it's the best job in the world. The sun's obviously on you here. You get into office when things are going well. It just seems like you can't miss.
Everything you've done is achievable, but to do it in such a compressed period is mad.
My first month in the area, I do a personal best ever. I break the transaction record because...
What is a biggie? How much are you getting paid for a biggie? Welcome to the show where we talk to successful people about the bits you don't see. Today we're talking to Liam Robertson, one of the fastest rising stars in Dubai real estate. Liam, how you doing?
I'm very well, Cal. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on. Looking forward to this chat. So yeah, tell me what your story is, mate.
Well, firstly, welcome to the madness.
Thank you.
Yeah, my story, mate, is pretty much joined the real estate industry last year. Flew over here with the family, joined White & Co. And then it's just been a very much, best way to describe it, a roller coaster of emotions, but an enjoyable ride. Been doing a lot of good things, a lot of things that I needed to work on, but I'm now finding myself as one of the better agents in the industry at the moment. And yeah, just trying to change myself and my family's life.
Good, mate. Well done. Now let's go back to as young as you can go. Talk me through your younger life, school, and beyond.
Yeah, so born in Edinburgh. I was Buxton Primary was where I was doing my business, I would say. But just honestly a normal, ordinary life as a kid. Probably in my opinion, one of the best generations, or one of the last generation.
The last good generation.
To enjoy it, where it was literally football until the lights came on. You only really would know if your mates were home as if the bikes were outside the house, so you had to phone the mums from the house phone to say how things are going, or if your friends are in and stuff like that. Football Manager was obviously the king
I still
back
love
then.
that now, mate.
And then yeah, obviously I have a couple of brothers and a sister. Dad was a professional football player, and my mum was Queen of Hospitality in Edinburgh. So the family was always known. So I kind of had that my whole life growing up, whether I was going into football or any job, really. Someone in Edinburgh. Edinburgh was a little bit of a fishbowl, shall we say, but everyone would know my dad or my mum at some point. So for me, again, socialising with people has never really been an issue. And then yeah, worked in Edinburgh for a bit, then moved over to Spain. Done 3 years as a football coach over there, where I met my wife, my wife now. Loved every bit of it. Mallorca. That was probably a turning point in my life, because again, when you're brought up in the UK, you're kind of not funneled, but you come up with it. You have to have a stable job, and you need to buy this, you need to trade or bank or anything like that. And I was working at British Gas doing a comfortable life, and then went through
So what were you, like a gas engineer?
No, I was in the
in
the
calls or
contact
something.
centre,
Yeah.
And it was just one of those where things were going well, but then we all went through redundancy, and it was just the classic what any lad or lass does nowadays is you put something on your social media. Anyone have any jobs going? And a mutual friend of mine put us in touch with a guy called Elliot who does ESA soccer. A little shout out for him. He messaged me, met for a coffee, and he basically just said, look, it should initially be a 3-month gig, coaching kids from all different nationalities and living in Spain. So I mean, what wasn't there? Yeah, well, exactly. What wasn't there to love? So done that, and it ended up being a 9-month gig. Come back for the winter, go out for the summer, all that sort of stuff. And then yeah, unfortunately, just with where we were in Mallorca, it wasn't you couldn't really do a full 12-month gig there. So then obviously,
Why?
It was just it was like a more of a tourist town. So
Right.
at the end of the summer, so anywhere from April to October, flourishes, is vibrant, and then it just goes. Half the places board up their windows. Everyone goes away for the winter and stuff like that.
That's what my first glamping site's right in the north of Scotland. It's the same. You get to like October and all the shops and that shut.
Yeah.
So like you can't even, you need to go down like an hour down the road to get your shopping. So it must be the same as that.
Yeah, and I mean, at the start you probably think, oh, it's nice, really quiet. Still go walk along the beach, take the dog, whatever you want to do. There's a couple of places open, but then every day is the same,
Yeah.
and it's just you start to miss a little bit of normality. So me and Hannah decided to move back to Edinburgh. Unfortunately, before that, in Spain, we actually suffered an ectopic pregnancy, which is never nice for anyone. But it kind of made us realise that where do we want to be? So we moved closer to family, moved back to Edinburgh, and then again just went about life. We're then blessed to bring my daughter Lily into the world, and then we're just doing, again, both in really good jobs, and had a bit of a hard time with getting the second kid. And then I got into professional football coaching with Edinburgh City, and then obviously I've known Callum for a while. A few of my best mate, Callum Murray, was over here as well. A couple of other friends started moving over to Dubai.
So many people are moving across now. It's crazy.
And you were just sort of like, oh, and everyone was kind of at me like, come over. I think you'd be really good at real estate and this and. And it was one of those things, it's always in the back of your head, but I always felt, especially when I had a kid, I was like, how do you take your kid and take them out of their comfort zone and move across the world? And then, yeah, it got to a stage where most of our friends were leaving, and we thought, do we want to be left behind? Do we want to have these regrets? So we, again, one time over dinner, just had the chat and both decided to go for it. Had never been to Dubai, even on holidays.
That's mad.
Yeah, so but it probably helped. In hindsight, I mean, not that if we'd been here before it would change our mind, because you probably again would love it, and everyone comes over and says, oh, it's the best place in the world. But for us, we decided once we had our marriage and we'd had the big day, we'll sell the house and we'll move over. Told the families, didn't go down particularly well. Obviously my mum and my daughter at the time were like best friends. My sister was always there in the house. We're close to family, so that is the hardest step that a lot of people probably will have when they come. But yeah, moved over June last year. Got right into the heat, got right in about it. But the funny thing about it was I actually came over to do recruitment.
Right.
Yeah. So
with Jamie, White and Clayton.
Yeah, so I accepted a job with White and Clayton to come over and do recruitment. Flew over, had everything signed, then we're out for lunch one day, and you know when you get that feeling in your gut where you're like, I should maybe be doing real estate. Again, spoke to close friends, spoke to my wife, we had the chat, looked over figures, and we decided if we go for real estate, then, because recruitment was obviously salaried, so you have a little bit of a comfort there, whereas real estate is commission only. You go all in or all out. I had that difficult decision to make, but went with the gut, and then had to unfortunately tell Jamie I was going to go into real estate.
Oh, so it was one of those like you've come across and you've gone, listen, mate, I'm actually I'm gonna go 13 floors down.
Yeah, it was literally.
I'll wave to you in the left.
Yeah, it was one of those ones. I was like, how'd you? And I actually think as well, I ended up texting him about it just to say it was one of
shocking.
I know. And when I look back at it, it was one of those. I sort of texted, was like, and I mean, I'll be honest again to Jamie, to speak positive about him as well. He was superb, but he kind of did say as well he thinks that I would be very suited to it. And then fast forward 13 months, where we're now sat here with some decent stories to tell.
Now Jamie's on his way down the stairs to come and work with you as well in real estate.
I believe so, yes. Again, I don't know if it's been fully announced, but yeah,
we can check that one after. We can check that one after, and we can see if we need to cut that one.
100%.
Aye, mate. So you're only a year in the door.
Again, obviously, for me and my family, we've added a second child, so I've got 2 daughters now. The hair's still here for now, so we'll see how it goes. But in terms of work, Cal. It's been very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of awards been won. So within my first 6 months with White and Co, we're at the Christmas party. They're going through some of the awards, and obviously there's so much talent within the company. And again, they're going through the so-and-so's won this, so-and-so's won this, and it got to the Rising Star Award. Genuinely didn't have any inkling that I would be in the running for it or anything like that. Was a little bit worse for wear, shall I say. Because again, I was just enjoying the night, didn't think anything. And then Neil started explaining about the decision about why this person was going to win, and as he started to mention a couple of things, more and more heads started to turn and look at you, and I thought, oh, you know what I mean? So, and then obviously, they mentioned that I'd won the Rising Star for the year. Obviously, only being there 6 months was a very big achievement for me personally. And then, from there's obviously won a couple of internal awards, where again, I don't know if some of your listeners are aware, but there's always monthly awards at White & Co. You have Director's Choices, Rising Stars, 1, 2 and 3 in sales, leasing and all that sort of stuff. But it's very difficult to explain to people the level of competition you're up against. Now, I've done extremely well in what I've done, but I've never really been ever near the top 3 in terms of monthly earnings for that 1 month, whereas I've always sort of been under the radar, and I quite liked that. Where I'd always be sort of in the top 10, for example. But obviously consistently, the more and more I've been doing that, I've now found myself, without sort of hoping not coming across too arrogant, but as one of the best in the company. And it's
well,
something
you can back that up with position. It's not like you're just making
of course,
it up, like you're backing that up with
but it's one of those as well.
scoreboards.
It's for me, it's still a bit surreal to say it, because only being in here 13 months, coming up against some other people that have not done it as long as me either. Who are also making some real strides, but then also being up against some people with a lot of experience. But that's what I think is good about White & Co. I think that's what's helped me, because I've had numerous messages and phone calls from recruiters asking for coffee and stuff like that, and some of them from really, really good companies that if I wasn't at White & Co, you would probably consider. But then I have I've spoke to Callum White about this before. You could be the big fish in a small pond, or you could be in the big pond with a big fish. I don't think I would flourish as much if I was the big fish in the small pond, because you do get complacent, you do get lazy. The numbers you think that you're doing well with. Now, I mean, there will be some agents out there that are the big fish and are absolutely cleaning up, but my honest opinion is that if you want to continually grow and get better, you have to be up against that. And it's not even so much competing against them, it's learning from them. I mean, we've got our Directors League where there's some unbelievable agents in there, and I've always been the sort of person that I don't mind asking them a question, not to the stage where people will pester them, like the classic, someone will go to George Smith, what is it that you do different? Those sort of questions are just, for me, are just stupid. But when you start to earn the respect of certain people, and you can have a conversation with them and understand what their thought process is, or what would they do in a situation like that, and then bounce things off them. I've always been a bit of a people watcher. That's my tip to anyone, is listen and observe what other people do well, what people do bad, and then kind of just mix it in with what you're doing. And then again, moving on to some other stuff that's happened, got invited down to the Bayeux head office. Again, wasn't expecting that, but done a podcast there. Was just about the True Broker sort of badge that they do. So it's a new part of their system. I was, I think, 7 months in a row in my old area at Demac Hills as their ranked #1 agent.
Wow, that's crazy. For the first month of that, you'd only be in the door 5-6 months, and then the following not even.
Yeah, so it's, and again, they do that by, and it's not something again that companies can go and pay for. The way that they do it is you have to have verified listings. You have to have inquiries coming in. You have to answer those inquiries, because believe it or not, you'll understand when you get into it, is that some people generally don't get back to
I manage a
leads.
sales team. I already know.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Smash their head off the
exactly.
table.
And to me, it is that case. It still baffles me that
Yeah.
it does. You do hear these stories, but it goes on that sort of premise. And again, they started to like put out Instagram posts and LinkedIn posts and start tagging you, and you start to get a little bit of reaction from that. Whether it's other agents start to contact you, clients start to contact you directly. And again, you can use it as a little bit of a flex. Now, I'm not saying it's a complete game changer, because there is agents that I know for a fact are doing unbelievably well, not even near the top 3 or top 10 on the list. But it is the way I think the world's going now, is you need to show that you're doing the right thing. And again, that's something that if you were to ask anyone at White & Co what I've done, I would probably say it's I've just done the basics really well.
Yeah.
And it's something we touched on before the podcast started. There's a lot of people in here trying to be the next big thing. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but to do that, you've got to be good at what you do.
Yeah.
Now, there will be someone that comes in and has something unique off the shelf that no one's really thought of, or there will be people hoping to be the next sort of breakthrough. I just think when you come in, you see it a lot of times, they're trying to be different, which is nothing wrong, but build your rep up first before I think you do that, and build your stock up. Get your customers, get your clients, get your buyers, get your sellers, just your network. Because you never know who's going to buy from you. You never know who might just put in a good word if you've been really kind to them or been really good to them. And that's the bit that I think some people forget about in the industry is building your network, build your personal brand. And that's what I'm, again, hoping to do after things like this, is get in front of more cameras, maybe start doing some more videos. But for me at the start, there was no point in doing videos until I knew I could sell, or I knew that I could do what I wanted to do in the industry. And I've started to do that. So it's now, can I go to the next level? And then there's been, again, going back to the office, they then decided to put my big head on a billboard in Sakim Street, which was like a goal of mine when I first came over. I remember saying to my mum, she'd first came over, and I think my colleague Jordan Feemster was on the Bay board over from her hotel, and she was like, "Why are you not on that?" And I was like,
I will be soon.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm only 5 months in. And I was like, but I'll get it done. And then, annoyingly, was flying over, and I should have been on the billboard by then. And I was going to just drive past and surprise her and stuff. But obviously, there was a little bit of a delay there, so I couldn't do that. But then, again, me, my wife, my daughter's driving past, and you see yourself on one of the busiest streets in Dubai, in one of the most thriving cities in the world. You do then start to think back a little bit and being like, so maybe what I am doing is right. Maybe I'm good at what I'm doing. Where can this go?
Yeah.
Because the industry is all about confidence, and what comes with confidence is results. It starts to snowball, and there's been times where I've been really low, and the confidence is not there, but getting right back on it and doing the right things again, doing the basics well, you learn what works for you. And yeah, from there it's just, in my opinion anyway, a tough one to crack at times, but enjoyable one to go for.
Mate, so there's so much there, right, that's happened, and like you've said it all like it's easy and normal, and you're just like, oh yeah, well then what I did was I just got to the top for the 7 months in my area, and then what I did is this. Like, how normal is the stuff that you've just made sound normal? How many other people in your class have, like, at the same start date, have done the same as what you've done?
No, when you strip it like that, yeah, not many. I got a really nice message off my manager or director, Poppy. She had said, she'd wrote a little note just to say, like, what I've done in this short space of time isn't always achievable. So there is times like that when it goes back to, you've got to give yourself a bit of credit. Now, we can dive into some of the stuff that's got me to there, but there's been times where the way I've done it's probably not the right way in terms of overkill. I would sit and I would do the long hours at work. I love.
What do long hours mean? Like, how long are the long hours?
Yeah, so our normal day, everyone's got to be in for 9. Got to register for 9, unless you've got stuff going on. But 9 o'clock, and then the beauty of the job is you're in charge of your own day. So you could, if you want to, go home at 10 o'clock, and you could go straight to sleep if you wanted. You could go to the boozer, you could go golfing. No one's really going to check on you, but the only person that's going to impact is obviously yourself. Yeah. Now, for me, a normal days, minimum, what I was doing was 9 till 8:30.
Right, so it's like 12-hour day.
Yeah, but even in that, it depends how productive are you being in that time.
Yeah.
Because there was days where I was working till 10, 11, sometimes even past 12 in the office.
Yeah.
My eyes were going square. I was getting myself worked up. I was stressing over stuff that, when I look back now through the experience, there was no need for me to be in that office past 8:30, 9 o'clock.
And you were also probably not doing anything of value. I've been there, I showed you my office up the stairs.
Yeah.
I've been sitting there at 11 o'clock at night doing nothing,
Yeah.
but being there because I've got stuff to do.
Yeah, now, because there were certain times, again, once you know who you're speaking to and what works for certain clients and what works for you, you're not going to start calling people past a certain time because you don't want to be that guy that's phoning someone when they're having their dinner or vice versa. But I started thinking, well, what can I do to utilise it? And I would look at some of my training group, people that aren't with us anymore. They were leaving 4, 4:30, 5. That's me done for the day, going away. And then I would look back and I would see, when I first started, there was people like your David O'Keefe, Jordan Feemster, Ray's, Willoughby's and those stuff. They were all really hard-working people. And when I first started, they were doing really good numbers and still are. But they were in the office till 7, 8, 9. And I would sit there and be like, I'm still wet behind the ears in this industry. I don't know the day-to-day job. How can I go home at 5?
Who am I to be going home at 5 when the boy that's just done £1 million in the last 6 months is still sitting there?
Yeah, and then there's bits where there was parts of me that wanted to go home. Now, when I first came over, one of my best mates sat me down and he said, look, you've got your wife, you've got your daughter. This job is tough. You're going to have to sacrifice the family part of it for majority of the week. But that being said, when you do have it, you've got to enjoy it. Now, again, that's where I struggled to juggle. My wife is probably the best person to ask. But yeah, there was times where it was hard at times because I would drop my daughter off at nursery, or my wife would drop her off and I would see her in the morning, and then when I was coming home, she's already in bed. So you're spending maybe 15 minutes of your day with them, and it's tough. But you've just got to keep thinking, what's your why? Why are you doing this? Why do you want to change? Why have you travelled halfway across the world to do it? But then again, as time went by and I was banging out phone calls, getting in front of clients, putting myself in situations where I had a chance of winning listings or winning sales and deals. And then when that first deal drops, you start to get a little bit more confident. And then again, I was still doing the long hours in the office, but then I would have it set out that I don't make any calls after 6:30 or 7. And then that 7 till 9 is just me learning my area. Learning every inch of square footage, what the last prices was, what does my competitor have online that I don't, how can I get that? If I can't get that, can I reach out to that competitor and try and work with them? Again, trust in other agents is a very difficult thing. It took me probably about 8 months to do my first external deal because I thought to myself, I can do that. Like, I shouldn't have to rely on their buyers or their sellers. If they've got it, I can get it. But then again, it comes a time where you've got to sometimes let your pride take a hit, reach out to people. And again, this industry is time kills deals. So if I sit on something or sleep on something, someone else might get it. So again, that was going through my head where I could not answer a message within 2 to 3 minutes. I'd be lying in bed at 11:30 or whatever, and then I would just sit up in bed and be like, I need to remember to email that landlord, or I need to text that, and I would sit and I would email myself from my phone to my work email, so that when I came in the morning, it would remind me to do it, and then I could go to sleep. But that's just the way that I found worked for me, was being on top of things. But But yeah, it's getting yourself in these positions comes from getting stock, getting clients, getting deals, and all this. But that's the easy part. The hard part is phoning 100 people a day and getting 95 voicemails, or speaking to one person and they dismiss you, or they report you, or you speak to, and then you look to your right and the person makes 5 phone calls and gets 4 people, bangs an offer out, and you're sitting there going, oh. But it's just that, I say it's not the motivation, it's the discipline to keep being consistent. Okay, that day's not worked out too well. And then I'd always end the day on a positive. Whether that be, okay, I've got a client meeting tomorrow, whether I've got a phone call that's, yep, you can come and do a viewing, or someone inquired, just something that it wasn't me finishing on, no, you're not getting this, you know what I mean, that negative mindset. And then, yeah, I would drive home in my little Geely M Grand, with my phone shaking, no battery left in it. Get home, release it all, and then be like, your alarm goes off at 6:30 the next day, and you do it all again. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's the hard part. Sometimes dusting yourself down and being like, again, how am I going to do this? And there is days where, again, I'll put it, there's days I thought about quitting. 3 or 4 times I'd actually said to my wife, I cannot do this, because I'm putting so much into it and then dropping or fumbling. And again, I think we touched on it before, you put so much pressure on yourself to do a deal quick that you then start to suffocate the seller or the buyer, and then they turn around and be like, oh, this doesn't feel right for me, and they back off. And then you've done so well and you've put so much effort to get them here, that all crumbles away and you can't do anything after. So bit by bit and experience by bit. But I would always learn from that. That's something, again, I had to learn from my mistakes. And making sure that I didn't do that again has put me in a really good position where I am just now. And obviously my family's in a position that we would never have dreamt of being in within 13 months of the move.
It's wild. It's wild. So you're sitting there, you've said 3 or 4 times you've come home to your wife and you've said, I'm not doing it anymore, I'm quitting. Why did you get up and go back into work the next day?
Because my daughter's relying on me. My wife had put her support in me.
You've moved to a different continent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's an 8-hour flight over the road. Yeah, it's a lot of money that goes in it. We sold our house, so we didn't have any. And that was another thing. If we're at the stage back home where I wanted to rent my house out back home in the UK. Again, just for that, I was like, I'll use it as income just in case things don't work out. And then my wife was like, well, probably better to sell it, and then we'll have more of a nest to go with. So we've done that, and then we were actually talking about halfway through the journey. If we still had the house rented, it's something that probably would have tempted me more to move back. So it was something that my wife, I'll give my wife props for it. If she basically said, let's put all our eggs in this basket, let's sell the house, and let's go for it. But then again, coming back to why did you get back and do it? The job is addictive. The job is really, really addictive, and that, in the sense of, you can do seriously big things in the industry, but even the small things of just having someone phone you and be like, you are my guy. You're the person I want to sell, no one else. Just that trust of someone that you've maybe put 2 months into. Not even 2 months, maybe just a month. Or you get these like little nuggets that you start thinking, all right. And then again, you've got to believe that when you start at White & Co. or start any real estate company, you're going to do what you set out to. You've got to have targets. My trainer, Candice, we sat down and we had a 1 month goal, a 3 month goal, and a 6 month goal.
How did you go with them?
What were they?
What were they, and how did you get on with them as well?
Yeah. So the first month was just my first month target was become competent on the systems that we use and understand the processes of the job. Because again, I think some people can go in and be like, I want to have 50 deals. It's like,
very good.
Relax, yeah. Mine was, I started off with, I wanted to do this, competent at the job, understand the processes. 3 months was wanted to have done my first deal, because again, when you go in, you're always told it could be anywhere from 3 to 6 months before your first deal even lands in your bank account, so prepare for that. And then the 6 month was, I wanted to make enough commission that it would be more than my annual salary back home.
Within 6 months?
Within 6 months. So I was on a steady income job in Edinburgh. Done my first deal in just under 5 weeks. The Mac Hills 2. Buyer, seller, 1.5 million deal. Went through 5 Form Fs for it. It was the most stressful thing ever, changing spelling and this and again, I vowed myself I'll never do that again. 5 Form Fs, I'll just get it sorted. 3 month goal was obviously beaten with that one, and then I think by the time 6 months came, I think it was something like I'd tripled or quadrupled my annual salary from back home in terms of commission.
Within 6 months.
Within
so
6 months.
If you've tripled it, you've actually 6x'd it in theory.
Yeah.
And then you'll have obviously gone on and done even better in the following 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. So it was one of those things, and it is the industry where you could feel like you're not getting anywhere, but bit by bit, you start to really understand. Again, I had one deal that I'm still working with one buyer that was one of my first ever inquiries that I reached out to on the CRM from June last year, and he's still not bought.
Yeah.
So you do get these people that you're just like, and then will I ever close them? I don't know.
No.
But then you also get some people that phone you and can close over the phone or don't even have to view certain things. So it's very, there's no rule book that says here's what will make you successful. But we speak about it when everyone has the same tools. Everyone's got the same CRM. Everyone has a handset. You've all got your own mobile.
Same 24 hours in a day.
Exactly, yeah. And that's when it comes down to, like, you've got to be productive. You've got to put the effort in, and then on the good days, enjoy them, and then on the bad days, remember that tomorrow's a chance to be a good day again. But yeah,
We spoke about a lot of the kind of harder days there. Talk to me about some of the better days. Like, what is it like when it's going right?
Oh, it's the best job in the world. As I said, you walk into an office where it's buzzing because there is people making life-changing money. When you walk in, and again, whether you're in your rented car or you've just leased a beautiful car, bought a car, whatever, you drive in, the sun's obviously on you here. You get into office when things are going well. It just seems like you can't miss.
Yeah.
And again, it just, when you do one deal, it just breeds confidence, and then confidence brings results. That's one thing I've tried to keep myself on par for, is keep the confidence levels high, keep the drive high, and the rest will take care of itself. But yeah, I mean, there's when you see your name come up on that board and you think, everyone starts clapping, and it could just be a normal deal. But then when you land a biggie, you do get that little bit of you do feel a bit like that stardom feeling where you're like, shit, I'm going to have to go and do this again, because I want that. I want people to recognise who I am. I want people to, you walk in and go and get a coffee at the machine and everyone's like, unbelievable deal, like smashing it. People coming up to you asking you questions like, what are you doing and how do you do that? And you just start to evolve into a monster, basically, because you don't know when that next deal's coming, but you've got that buzz that next phone call you're making, that person on the other end of the phone could tell you anything, and you just know, I'm winning an argument.
Yeah.
I'm gonna convince you that I am right in this what you should be doing, and vice versa. And yeah, as I said, you're in control of what you want to do. Whether you want to go in, Dubai is obviously a place where you can go and celebrate wherever you want, whether it's a beautiful meal or a brunch or a day at the beach or a pool. So yeah, we've made a thing now with me and my friends, me and my family, that if you do land a biggie, then we go and celebrate that. Because
what is a biggie? How much are you getting paid for a biggie?
I mean, again, everyone's got their own ones, but I mean, if you're putting 100,000 on the board, I would say is a biggie, because what's that to most people? It's £10,000 for one deal.
Yeah.
And again, people can put 3 or 4 of them on easily a month. Biggest to me could be a little bit more than that.
And it probably creeps up every month, right?
Yeah, I mean, but then that's the thing is, and I was guilty of it. People go searching for that. I want the big one. I want that 150,000 on the board. I want 200,000 on the board. I want 1 million on the board. They don't come around all the time. So when it does happen, get it done. But then, again, if people just if you can smash out 3 or 4 40,000s on the board, when that tallies up at the end of the year, you're going to be like, oh. Or again, people over here, because sometimes you don't think it's real money because you see it on a board and it's a bit. It can be a bit like if you're at the casino. Do you know what I mean? If you're playing the slots and you've put £1,000 on it and you're like you start chucking a bit more expansive. You can kind of find yourself thinking that way as well, because if I was back home and someone said, "Oh, Liam, I'll give you £3,000 this month," you'd be buzzing.
Yeah.
Whereas here,
it's like physical cash in your hand. Like it seems so much more valuable.
100%, mate. And then people here will be like, "Oh, I'm only putting X on the board, and it's only going to be £3,000."
Yeah.
And you're like, but that £3,000 could literally be you doing one phone call, one viewing, 1 hour of admin, and you're getting £3,000 for it. Whereas you could have someone that's doing 30 viewings for the same £3,000. So that's sometimes you actually feel like, we were playing golf the other day and my buddy said it to me. Sometimes you feel like you get paid too much for what you actually do, and sometimes that is right. But then again, there's a lot of
it's a mental bit though. That's the hard bit.
There's a lot of shit you do that you don't get paid for, and people don't see. Again, there's times where I've introduced clients to certain developments, to certain projects, to certain units, and then they just go and chuck you under the bus for an agent that'll do it for X, Y, Z. There's a lot of heart of that. There's sometimes there's internal agents in your own team that will be fighting for it. There's jealousy in some people. Not so much hatred, but there will be times where, again, you've got to remember it is your own business, and at the end of the day, you've ultimately got to look after yourself. But people can do that the right way. If you don't, you won't last long in the business, because reputation's everything, in my opinion. Again, anything I say is always how I feel. But there's a lot of people that think they can be sneaky, or they can try and do people over just for putting a big deal on the board. But I always believe that fate will come round and the right things. I mean, I've got a deal going on just now where we had an agreement on same buyer, same seller. My colleague seller was going to sell us 2 units at the same price because we're buying both. Bought one, everything signed. We're waiting on one payment issue for the second, and he then pulled out on the second deal. So I'm keeping it now. We could have potentially, me and my colleague could have looked at him and, well, both of them have signed that, so they both have to pay for it. We've done the right thing, asked them both to cancel mutually, and again, we'll try and find them something else. But then for me, there will 100% be agents out there that will say, well, I need that money from that deal, because again, it's working out at probably about £8,000 or something in your pocket for that deal.
That legally you should be getting.
Yeah, exactly, that we all had agreement on. But then morally, the right thing to do is not go ahead with it and try and again, now that my client still sticks by me with this, and he still we're still trying to hunt him down on a couple of deals, because reputation for me is pretty much everything. Again, when I'm speaking to clients, it's all about what I can bring them, and I don't know everything, and I tell them that from the start. But what I will give them is 100%. I'll give them honesty. I have difficult conversations if I need to, whether it's their price and as a seller, whether it's their offer as a buyer, whether their target is unrealistic on both sides. And I think people, well, I know from my side, my experience, people want that.
100%, mate. I want that. See, if I'm getting sold something, I want to hear the bad bits, because then I go, I believe your good bits because you've told me the bad bits.
Yeah, and I mean, sellers over here will get 20 to 50 calls a day, all probably pitching them similar stuff. Some will come in with unique stuff. But that is the beauty of it, is how, I think you asked the question before, how do you stand out from 1 in 50 for what you're doing? And again, sometimes it is just having that honest right up from the start is, I'm not lying to you when I'm asking you this, or I'm trying to give you something. People just want to take. Give me your listing, give me your buyer, this. But no one wants to do the bloody work for it. I was about to swear there, but I thought
you're allowed to if you want.
Yeah,
you can go for it.
But it's just, but it is that, and that's the bit where there's too many people that come in, whether it's agents, not even coming in, but there's agents in there that are just so lazy that they don't want to do the hard yards, and they just expect to be given deals. And again, it's like, I've done it myself. People have inquired, or you inquire on something, they say, oh yeah, just take your client down there, the door's open and stuff like that, and you think, you're representing one side of this deal.
Yeah.
Be there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? How are you?
How hard is it to be there as well?
Exactly. And if you can't be there, can you get someone in your team who's in the area to do it for you, or can you get that agent with a buyer to reschedule and do it, and get comfortable telling people no? That was a massive part of, I think, when the penny dropped a little bit in this job, was when I'd done all those hours of learning my pricing and my square footage and what's what and what should be sold, is when a buyer or a seller starts trying to tell you you're wrong when you know you're right. Be comfortable telling them no. And I've turned down many clients in my old community because they were unrealistic in what they're wanting, and I know for a fact that that's not going to happen. And there's been a couple of examples that I could say that people have actually came back to me in a couple of months and went,
I've listed with somebody else, it's gone wrong.
Yeah, you were right, Liam. Can we list it with yourself now going forward at this? And then you've kind of earned the respect of that. And then that's when you can go in and say, like, well, if I'm going to give you my time, you need to work with just me. And that's where the exclusiveness comes in, or that's where the trust comes in and says, I don't want to, because you get to a point where you can be that busy that you can only invest in people that are serious. So you can categorize them into motivation, sellers or buyers, but ultimately you're only going to spend your time with the people that want to buy and want to close and want to sell. There will be the people you have to nurture, and of course that's part of the game, but if that person you're trying to nurture is just wasting your time, letting you down, you're going up to viewings and they're not turning up, making you look stupid in front of clients or other agents, you're not going to be wanting to do a lot of time with them. And that's the beauty again of it, is when you appreciate what you've done or what you're putting into it, and someone's not giving you that back, it's easy to forget them, and it's easy to move on to the next one, because there will be a client that's willing to work with you. There will be a seller that's willing to work with you, or there will be another agent that is willing to work with you, because there's a lot of agents out there that won't work with you. And it's purely not down to anything you've done, because you just give them a nice text message or a nice call, and they just have trust issues, or they've been done over in the past, because as we said before, there's a lot of bad agents that are doing shortcuts and undercutting, and there's a lot of good agents out there that are suffering because of that. I would say in the industry, there's, if you have 100%, 90 are trying to do it the wrong way, 10 are doing it the right way, and then of that 10 there's a 1% that are elite, and we're all trying to get into that elite stage. And I'd like to hope that maybe in 5 years' time I could count myself as that, and who knows where you'd be in this if I keep going at the trajectory that I've had so far. But I'm also old enough and ugly enough to understand that I can't stop, because if I get complacent, I could easily find myself mellowing out or tracking back, and it's not something I can afford to do at the minute.
Where do you want it to get to? You know, you're talking about that 5-year thing. What's the target?
I think financial stability is the main answer for most people. Freedom of, I would love to maybe in 5 years' time have a nice portfolio of properties.
That's what I want to do when I'm coming into this to do flips, to do you know, buy some stuff for myself, do rentals.
I think for me, I'd love to have a portfolio that I can look back at and be like, that would maybe give me an income to, as you said there, I've got a couple of my best clients are renovation guys. Could I ever be in a position to be like, let's go on that together? Let me go 20% in or 50% in or whatever.
I can't imagine you're far away from that now. You could probably do some if you wanted to now.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I could. That is the next step. My next target is to buy my first property out here. I could do it right now if I wanted to, in terms of I can purchase something, but I'm waiting for the right one.
Aye.
I'm in two minds whether to buy something ready or off plan. That's where I'm currently at. But again, it's weird to be sat in a position where I had sold my house to come over here with only savings to try and get to a position where within 12 months I'm thinking about purchasing something as an investment. And again, can that investment then start to give me some income that can move on to the next one and the next one? But that's, for me, the 5-year goal would be in a really strong financial position where I have properties giving me a decent return. Honestly, a goal of mine would probably be management, which, again, a lot of people would probably want to be like, I want to retire in 10 years. And don't get me wrong, if I was in a position where I had that much money, I was retiring, it would be a possibility. But I've always been interested in coaching.
Oh yeah, because you did the whole football thing as
football,
well.
Even now, as I said, I'm not the most experienced, but I've only been here 13 months. But people will come and ask me questions. People will come to me, and I like to help people. It gives me a good feeling helping people, and then seeing them come back and say, "Oh, I've done what you said, and I put it in my own play, and it's worked." Yeah. So I mean, that would be something that would interest me further down the line, whether that's in the next year or two. I don't know. And then I think I would maybe look at some investments. And I think 5 years again. I want to build my personal brand in that next 5 years. So if there's any content creators out there that want to hit me up or give me some ideas, let me know. But I think I'd want to really build my reputation more, because again, I've done well just now, but I want to keep my feet on the ground, and I want to really push on and potentially be even better than what I'm doing. Cause I think it's a hard question for 5 years, because you could go off in a crazy retire, but for me, it would definitely be property, potentially a career change in terms of maybe management at the end of the 5 years, but definitely in the next year or two, I want to keep sort of pushing with what I can.
So let's imagine that Liam, that was back in his job back at home, has just walked in the door, and you've just explained to him where I am today, right now. This is what we've done in the following 14 months from when we've left. What do you think he would say?
I think
would he believe it?
Nah, no. And again, it's something I don't think he would. Because me and my wife actually spoke about that the other week. They were trying, again, to keep ourselves grounded. We do talk about how far we've came from. I mean, it wasn't so long, 6 years ago or 7 years ago, when I was in Mallorca, I was on €600 a month. That was my income, because they put me up in digs. You got fed from the hotels that you worked in. But then again, €600 over there is fine, so you need. And again,
and when you've got your bills and that covered.
And I mean, and again, money isn't the be all and end all, but being in a position now where I can fly my mum over whenever I want, being in a position where in the 14 months where we've got a good amount behind us that we can be more comfortable, and you can start to express yourself a little bit more, and buy things that before would be a bit more of not struggle, but there would be times back home where I'm like, I'd love that aftershave, but I'm not spending 200 quid on a bottle. I'll just take the one at 60 quid or 70 quid, to then just buying the one you want. There's a good feeling about that, but I don't think I would have believed it would have been done so quickly.
That's the thing that I think when I look at you. I think like everything you've done is achievable, but to do it in such a compressed period is mad.
It is, but then I think that's the beauty of it. And the flip side, it is so achievable if you put your mind to it. And again, as I said, I could easily have came out here and been one of those guys in the office. Well, I've got a 3-year-old daughter back home. I need to go at 4:30. I need to go at 5. I've got a wife back home that's missing me, and vice versa. But we had an agreement that as a family, like, for us to succeed, she knows that me putting these long hours is for us. But then I know that she's got everything outside of work covered, sorted, and we're in it together and stuff like that. And then again, when you come into work and you've got, well, I can only speak to Wayne, because you've got so much support there from management to directors to training to colleagues, that you shouldn't fail. But I think when we first went for a coffee, you asked how do people fail at this job when.
I can't quite figure that, but I know I do now that we spoke about it. But I look and I just think there's supports there, the systems are there, the training's there. Like, how can it go wrong? And I think it all comes down to you as an individual. Are you willing to put in the extra graft? Now you get people in here and they think, I need to make 1,000 calls a day, or I need to do 150 calls. I used to change my target to, can I have 15 good conversations a day? Because that's where the value is. Yeah,
like, can I make a difference to someone's search? Can I improve what I've done yesterday in terms of my knowledge of the area? Now, that was probably something that hindered me at the start, is I didn't do enough research. Because again, people think, yeah, you're just phoning up and someone will answer and someone will give me what it is. And it does happen. But there's a lot of these owners now are clued up, and if you don't know what you're talking about, or you don't have something to back up what you're saying, you'll just be left for dead.
Yeah.
And again, people fail because they think it's easy. They come over here, they look at someone's social media and they think, oh, they must be smashing it, they're doing this and that, and then they come over and they realise you're sweating in suits and you're getting let down by people not turning up, and then people are stealing deals off you externally, and you're in that constant rat race. And I think it comes, people fail because they get lazy. And that's something that I felt it's slightly in my previous community, not so much. I just felt I was getting complacent because I was doing really well in an area that people didn't particularly think would be as lucrative for anyone as an agent or seller, and it has a bad reputation. But I truly fell in love with what I was selling. I loved the area. I truly believed in it. I could connect with why people lived there, why people would want to live there, and I made a bloody good go of it. But then I felt like I was getting complacent for a wee stage where I wasn't making as many calls. I wasn't bringing as many price reductions down. I wasn't getting as much online, and that impacted my income. And then that's when I sat down and I said, look, here's what I want to do. And I moved into a new area, which again is super tough. There's unbelievable agents in there. But that challenge excites me because at one point, that top agent would have been me coming into the area and trying to make strides. And I think that's the beauty of, again, I go back to the beauty of the role, is that you can be whatever you want to be in this industry. But there's a lot of noise that'll put you off. And again, I had a couple of my really good friends sat me down and said, I think you're making a big mistake moving to this new area. And then my first month in the area, I do a personal best ever. I break the transaction record for one of the townhouses in there. And then I've sat there being like, if I had listened, because normally you listen to people that are close to you, you would probably, oh, well, you're right, I probably shouldn't do it. But again, you've got to believe in what you're selling, you've got to believe in what you're doing. And Dubai is a place where no one can control what you want to do if you're doing everything right. And you're doing it by the book and you're putting in the effort. You will get rewarded. But I go back to it, people fail because they think it's easy and they give up too easy.
So you've mentioned your mum a lot, you've mentioned your family a lot. It sounds like you're a proper family man, and I know from half knowing you that you are. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, come from a close family. Again, most families have had their issues. Mine's probably magnified a little bit more because of who my mum and dad were back home. But I've obviously got my own family now. Got two beautiful daughters, Lily and Noah. Beautiful wife, Hannah. Been together, she'll kill me now, 7 years, 8 years maybe. But that is important to me. Again, I've got a really good network of close friends. But for me, I get quite a lot of inbox messages from people thinking about starting real estate who have kids. They'll always just drop me a message. I'll sometimes go to my request and it'll just be, look, I've got a kid or I've got a couple of kids and we're thinking about moving. How did you find it? It was difficult because, again, I felt for the first couple of weeks, my oldest, Lily at the time, I felt like she took a while to adjust. And that was a bit, I felt guilty for that. Me and my wife sat down and we think, we've caused this. But ultimately the move was to give her a better life. Now, I'm not saying living in the UK she wasn't. She had family around her and she was loved and stuff like that. But Dubai is somewhere that kids just have everything for them. And not in the sense of they're given everything, but simple things of, we have the weather. Now, obviously, it can be really hot at certain times, but you can still get out in the morning or the evenings and stuff. Safety, especially having two girls, it's just paramount that you want safety. Cleanliness, like everywhere you go, spotless. So for us moving as a family, it had to make sense. And it was something that scared us at the time. But again, the schools over here that my daughter's in, or sort of the nurseries that we're in, the difference I've noticed in her academically is insane.
Really?
Yeah, like just how switched on she is with numbers, letters, spelling, writes with both hands, probably knows more about Dubai than I do. She talks to me about, she says this is the, we're driving in, she's telling me the difference between Burj Khalifa and Burj Al Arab, and now I know that obviously, but she is going on about the 7 states and stuff, and then there's just bits you click up and you think, me as a 4-year-old at the time,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You did not know that, yeah.
You were just told not to eat crayons and
Yeah.
stay away from sharp things,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, for me, it's been in a position where my mum has always given. She would literally give you the last tenner she had. And I was brought up, and we were brought up never wanting anything. Like, we were, for every Christmas or birthday, whatever was on your list, you were given, whether she had to put herself in a state to do that. So for me, it was important that I want to give and again, I didn't have the best childhood in terms of family growing up. In terms of, there was, again, don't have to go too much in it, but there was, every family's got their issues, and there was fights and arguments and scenarios and stuff like that. But that, again, has kind of made me who I am today, and I've got a really close relationship with my mum through that, and my sister as well. And then for me, it's kind of like, I want to make sure that my daughters don't ever have to have that. So again, us having a solid home, my wife is like unbelievable support. She's always been, whether I was playing football back home, she'd be the first to like support me for this, and again, there's been times where I can get a little bit like itchy feet with certain stuff, and she would be the one that would have to bring me down. So it's vital in life, never mind work, but in life, to have a solid support system. Now, not everyone's got family, and I get that, but everyone has a friend, and if you don't have a friend, then you can always find someone to support, whether it's a mentor or a work buddy, someone that you can kind of get in the trenches with. And again, I've been blessed in terms of friends wise. I've got, I would say, at least 10 to 15 like solid mates that when I had depression through the losses of children that we had, they kind of gathered around me and spurred me up and got me going. And again, when they've ever been in need, I'd love to be able to, I'd love to know, and there's been times where I have been told, they'll come to me for it. And again, I think stuff like that is huge, especially, and if we connect the both, if you're coming into an industry like this where it's an emotional job, because you get emotionally attached to the highs, the lows, you need to have a support system. Now, if you're a young 18 to 21-year-old coming over and you're just coming over yourself, that's fine. Give it your all, but make sure that if you don't have family over here or don't have family at home you can rely on, when you do come over and you're in that training group, there's another 15 or 20 of you that are in the same position. And again, that's what's so good about it, and you'll find it is you're all taking that step into real estate together, where it's commission only, and there's experienced agents that will try and give you the nudge and elbow you out the way and stuff like that. But you're in it together, so find your buddy from that and get closer. And do you know what I mean? And I think whatever company you choose, make sure it's the right one in terms of their values are correct. Make sure it's the right one that you feel you're going to be there, because you don't want to go into one and then start jumping about 2 or 3 within a short space of time, because people talk and it doesn't look good from that side. But there's a handful of companies out there that have got a really good online presence, so do your due diligence and make sure ultimately make sure that you're making a decision for you. Because again, I go back to when I was told not to make a switch to an area, and I felt like I had to for myself, and it's worked out. Now, it doesn't always do that, but I could have lived with that not working out because I made the decision. And that's where, again, support system is massive. Family's huge for me, and it's a big goal. Again, and we go back to, I always want to make sure that whether outside of work and inside of work, my values and my morals are the same, because whether you see me in work or not, I am the same person. I'll still be a bit of the class clown. I can be serious when it needs to be. I love to meet new people. I love to find out if they're a bit unique, and shall we say, and they've got different interests to what I do. Why is that? What makes you do this? Tell me why you're in it. And again, these small what's the best way? These small inklings to what people are doing, you might just get something from them that you can then use back in life, and that can spur you on and help you do something that you didn't think you could maybe do before.
Yeah. Something I've noticed you said a lot is me and my wife sat down and spoke about that. I think that, that sounds natural, but I bet most people don't do that.
No, I mean, we can probably, yeah. I mean, I used to bottle up a lot, which sounds stupid again, being on a podcast. I used to hide a lot, and my emotions and stresses would get on top of me, and then something would just burst it all out, and some poor bugger would get it in the neck, or someone would just see me sobbing, whatever it may be. And again, we've had bad experiences from miscarriages. We had 5 miscarriages in a row before moving out here. So I had to get a therapist to help me speak up about it. Because if we were in this position before, I would probably start to get myself choked up. But you've got to learn to speak out. And I am a massive example of that. I'd probably say where I am now to where I was maybe 4 years ago. If we were to do this, it would be 2 different people. I wouldn't be as open about it. But something, again, me and my wife sitting down and speaking about things, yeah, it does sound simple, but sometimes speaking... You
make it sound simple, but I don't think anyone else does.
No,
that.
I mean, even you and your missus, how would you... If you were bottling something up, it's a case of to you, that's your most important person, or it's the closest person to you out with family, right? How do you don't want to feel vulnerable. No one does. Yeah. But again, getting comfortable with being able to speak out to people, once you've done it once, and you have that, right, okay, I can relax a little bit now. But my wife sort of said, like, we've actually had arguments before when I've maybe been acting like an idiot, and it's because I'm bottling stuff up. We then have this argument, speak out, and she's like, why on earth would you not just tell me this? A problem, what's it saying? A problem halved is a
problem shared is a problem halved.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so it's mad. It's mad when people don't look at it like that way. And they think they can change the world on their own. But no, I think speaking out about stresses and problems and emotions is something that, especially for men, we don't do enough. Again, there's luckily for me, I wouldn't say luckily, but I haven't had anyone go to that extreme that some people probably have experienced. But I do believe that everything can be resolved by just speaking out. And then again, to connect that to this industry, there will be times where you are at maximum stress, maximum emotion, and you'll try and bottle it up, or you'll try and fake it. There's nothing wrong pulling your manager, pulling your buddy, or just letting it out somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Again, whether you go gym and bash weights or hit a punching bag or something, but then again, does that resolve it for most people? Maybe, but there will be someone like myself where you'll feel like it's doing it, but until you actually get it out, it doesn't. So again, anyone that's listening, I would absolutely make sure that if you've got someone with you, honestly, it does get easier. And again, massive credit to my wife. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now if it wasn't for her being there to support me when I've been at my lows, or sometimes just like the bumpers at bowling. She's there just to kind of nudge me back into.
That's a good analogy.
You know what I mean? Be where I'm back in. Otherwise, there would be times where I'd be gutter ball, whatever you call it. And that's I suppose that's the beauty of a relationship, and beauty of friends, beauty of family, and then even work. Like something White & Co is massive about is one big connection. Not going to be. It's not as cheesy as one big family, we're all together. But
cuddling when you get working.
Because it's not like that. But it is a case of, if you want to make yourself better at being fitter, being better at work, being better as a person, there is hundreds of people in that company that you can learn off. There's 100 people in that company you shouldn't learn certain things off, but find again what's your niche and what are you looking to get out of something. Again, people, and I used to be one of these people are too scared to put themselves out there because the opinion of, wow, what you and your mate's going to say about me, what's my ex-boss going to say about me, who cares? Do you know what I mean? Again, some people probably thought I would have came to Dubai and failed by now, and I'll be honest, there was probably a percentage of myself that thought that could have happened. If hadn't went for that lunch and was doing recruitment, would I have still been in Dubai? Who knows? Will I still be in Dubai next year? Who knows? That's the beauty of it. But I do just want to, I want anyone that's out there, if they do want to message me for any advice or any experience, just drop me a message. My numbers are obviously easy to get now because they're everywhere, but don't be afraid to message someone. One of my good mates has just started with us, and he's probably messaged 80 people in White & Co asking, and I was just like, what are you doing? But then again, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't want to answer you back, they're not going to answer you back.
Yeah.
But you might just get, again, one person said it to me, he was like, you're the only person that's actually messaged me back about moving to Dubai.
Wow.
And it's just a
That's
case
sad.
of... And that's what I'm saying is, I mean, I don't know these people,
Yeah.
but if they've scrolled through enough people's profiles, had the courage to message me, and again, put themselves out there and say, hey, can you just give me a little bit of advice? Because I have a young daughter, I've got a young son, my wife's pregnant, we're thinking about moving. Who am I to not respond to them? Do you know what I mean? And again, the way I look at it is, if I don't respond to that message, or if I do respond to that message, who knows where that might come to?
Yeah.
There's one guy that had messaged me, he was a teacher in Abu Dhabi, just asking me general advice about the industry, and then he's now potentially trying to put his dad and his uncles into me as a client for a potential off plan. And again, I could have just ignored that Instagram message, and you just never know where that next buyer is coming from. Whether it's letting someone in the front of the queue at the shops, or I would say letting someone out, or waving to someone in the cars here, but no one does it over here, so you're fine.
You've mentioned football a lot. You played a bit, you coached a bit, you've underplayed how much of a legend your dad is as well. Like, for those that don't know, his dad, he's the team that I support, Hearts, like probably #1 biggest ever legend. Maybe the generation younger than me wouldn't say that, but anyone that's my age and older, like, your dad is the biggest legend of Hearts ever. Do you feel like you've got something missing from football? Do you feel like you've not quite done what you wanted to? Because it sounds like you've always kind of flirted with it and you've always kind of got close, but...
No. I lived every boy's dream of... Again, I go back to... I played football at a decent enough level when I was younger, won some trophies, had some good experience from it, then decided to become a goalkeeper, which is obviously the opposite. I used to be a striker, and I used to get likened to my dad a lot. And it used to piss me off. Like, I would score goals, and then people were like, but your old man would have scored that one, wouldn't he? And I just think, fuck that. Yeah. So I generally thought, what's the one position I can go into? So I took 2 years out of football, because I fell out of love with it, and then came back as a goalkeeper, and then actually got to a better level as a goalkeeper than I would have as an outfielder. But then, again, football has taken me to Spain, where... I met my wife. It gave me a new confidence when I was out there. Again, kind of reset what I wanted to be and what I wanted to do and who I wanted to come across as. Moved back, then played semi-pro, as they call it, in Lowland Leagues in East of Scotland and all that. And then got really, really lucky that I met got introduced to a guy called Michael McIndoe, who's now Edinburgh City manager. We were at Gretna together. Very good football CV he had, very intelligent football man. He gave me the opportunity. I'd actually accepted a job at Hearts Academy to become a goalie coach. When he had phoned me, just as I had said yes to them, I got a phone call. And
you're good at that.
Yeah, just as I said yes to them, I got a phone call, and it was to become a coach in the actual professional leagues. Which again, I would probably say I got more enjoyment from coaching than I did playing, and I still do now. So even now, I love to watch football. I love to analyse it.
Like that.
Yeah, one of those ones. But I would watch any kind of football, whether I was taking kids in the pram or I was taking the dog a walk back home. If there was an under-14s game, a local amateur game, I just loved watching it. But I got to coach professionally last year, and even managed to, believe it or not, get 3 appearances.
Was that only last year?
That was last year.
But Edinburgh City at a decent level now as well. They're in the leagues, aren't they?
Yeah, so we're in League One. But unfortunately, when we took over 6 weeks into the job, we got hit with an administration, so we lost 18 of the first team players. We had to genuinely bring in under-20s, amateur players that would come and play for free.
Edinburgh City's got a good youth system though. Like they were always ones, them and Hutchie, that had the best kind of youth.
But then again, going into League One football where it's rough and tough and experience, it was hard. But again, I was doing the goalie coaching there, I loved it. And then towards the last 3 games of the season, we were depleted. And the gaffer actually said to me, look, we're going to have to put you on the bench. And I was like,
you won't play.
yeah, he was like, you won't play. I was like, so I was a sub goalie for 2 games. And then he was like, the sub goalie came back from injury. And then he basically said to me, he's like, we might need to put you on the bench as a striker. And I was like, sound. Used to play there. Played there in the Lone League for him last year. 2 years before that, just to help them out. And don't get me wrong, I can play. I just can't run. Look at this. I mean, look at me. I'm like a fridge freezer. And yeah, I mean, they got to a game, I think it was Stirling Albion at home. And he was like, right, Robbo. And I looked at it, I was like, what? He was like, get yourself ready. And it was about 4 minutes to go. Put me on, and then I got 15 minutes and 20 minutes. The last game was a co-ranger up front. So again, just being involved in football, no matter what level, I get enjoyment from it.
Yeah.
So I would never say there's nothing missing, because again, I've had some of the best experiences from that. And again, just from networking, football is so good for that. Even over here, I actually played last season for a team called Edge, full of good footballers, full of some rascals as well. But again, they're a mixture of some in real estate, some doing different bits. But that doesn't change whether you're in Dubai, whether you're amateur league or professional. The hunger to win and hunger to be the best never leaves you, and the competitive never leaves me either. So I'm now trying to transition that into paddle and golf. They're my two now.
The classic. They're the absolute Dubai classics.
Yeah, but I love it. As I said, the football is just so hot. But I mean, I'm still there's murmurs that we might be getting back together this season. So I'll maybe think about it. But the body is taking its toll in terms of football. But I can get around in the buggies, and then paddle's only for an hour as well. So it's fine.
Nice. So what is the Edge? Is that like in a league, or is it like a 5-a-side?
Yeah, no, it was a expat league.
Right.
So Saturday mornings, 9:00. So it wasn't. You still get a bit of heat buzz, but again, there's some really good teams there. And I mean, some of the players, if I was to put them back home, they would easily be Lone League level, potentially even in the leagues. But again, everyone's out here doing different jobs, but they'll still take an hour and a half out their week or 2 hours to kick a ball about. But no, it was an expat league full of, as I said, full of good teams. Bit feisty.
Nice.
Really feisty, actually, some of the games there.
Nice. Have we missed anything? Good, bad, indifferent, work, life?
Nah, I don't think so. I think that was sound.
Good. Right. You're starting the personal brand. You're pushing that. So where do people find you?
So obviously I've got Instagram, Liam Robertson _Dubai. For me, again, it's just obviously I've moved into the area of Jumeirah Golf Estates and Victoria Heights. Can obviously offer off-plan as well to any potential buyers. But for me, as I said, just going to start doing a little bit more camera work in terms of areas of interest. Again, I think there's a lot of people that do social media now, and again, fair play to them, because I wasn't comfortable doing it. But there was some of the videos I look at the post and I do think, like, what is the value that you're giving there? And I wonder if the company's just, because I know the concept is they'll cut it up and they'll give you little snippets, but some of this information they're actually giving, like, they're comparing the price of milk to the UK and the UAE, and you think, can you be a bit better than that? So yeah, for me, I'm hoping to come across as someone that gives information and value of the area that I'm specialising in, or in the industry that I'm in, whether it's processes or things you need to remember. But again, I'm just going to come in there with I don't want it to be as cheesy or as glammed up. It's just literally an honest lad giving you his honest opinion and taking it from there.
Good. Liam, thank you very much.
Pleasure,
I appreciate
mate.
it.
Thanks for having me on.